Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our September 3rd, 2020. 9:30, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to start off the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Woodland Treaty First Nation, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Osale, and Georgina Island First Nations. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. I will make note, Councillor Doherty is absent today. I hope everybody's got their kids all off to school and ready for the meeting here. So I'll ask everyone, please turn your cell phones off or place them on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And remind council of declaration of pecuniary interest if it arises. So declare it then. We have minutes here from the regular council meeting of August 15th. All in order. I'll look for a motion to receive those minutes. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, with that, I'm going to move right into delegations. And our first delegation here is Peterborough County and Doug Sikosha. And I'm not sure who's with you, Doug, but
yeah, welcome up and finish the team. Thank you, and through you, Chair. Good morning, council, staff. I'm excited to be here today to present our road rationalization policy. Just gonna, you mind if I move this?
yeah,
Go for it. Okay, just kind of whatever you want to say a little bit.
there you go.
That's a little bit better. Okay. Clicker work, or do I just say next slide? Okay, so introductions. I'm Doug Sikosha, Manager of Engineering Design for Peterborough County. We have here as well Kyle Darling. He's our supervisor for design, and Pete Hines is our senior project coordinator. Both of them actually did a lot of work on this policy, and so they're here as well for technical support. Next, oh, there we go, it's working. Okay, so a bit of background for council's information. In 2022, Peterborough County approved our updated transportation master plan. And with it, it came 84 recommendations, one of them being the development of a roads rationalization policy. And really what that is for is a process to set some criteria and the protocol out, really looking at what roads should be in what jurisdiction. And so when we developed this, and you'll see throughout this slide, that we really wanted to do it in collaboration with all of our 8 lower tier townships. And so the process is actually one for if there's a county road that needs to be potentially transferred to a township. But also, as you'll see here as well, there is a process in here that if there's a lower tier road that needs to be, per se, uploaded to the county, it would go both ways. So principles, just before we get into it, really these principles are guiding what should be a county road. And some of them are probably pretty intuitive, but really a county road is meant primarily for a transportation corridor to move services and goods of people and product. It should be capable of being upgraded to a county standard. Vice versa, if it was a township standard, we want to meet those standards as well. But for a county road, we want to make sure that you could upgrade the roads from a geometry perspective. So hills, curves, those type of things, it's feasible to be done. We typically like to see those to be direct. They should not be redundant, so you don't want parallel corridors. Typically, they do complement the provincial highways. So in this case, Highway 7, it would complement them, so it would feed traffic into the highway system. And last there, within settlement areas, typically the county road is still primarily serving the traffic. So things, like beautifying or landscape, stuff like that. It's not the intended role. The main role of the county road is to move traffic through those settlement areas. So we're going to go through today a little bit more in detail these 7 steps, but really our roads rationalization policy that is included with this presentation. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it in advance of today. Really there's 7 key steps that we've put forward and we're going to dive into those a little bit more detail. So step 1 is identification of candidate roads. And again, as I mentioned before, it can go from either party. So it can be from the county, could identify a road that needs to be transferred to the township, or it could be the township identifies a road as well that should be transferred to the county. And those requests, we just do want to note, at the very first step, we've asked that those requests in the policy, they would come in written. So it would come forward from staff, or it could come from council to county staff. And really that's just saying we have interest in potentially transferring this type of road. Step number 2 is the scoring of those candidate roads. So this is a very technical in nature, I'm going to say. We developed, and again, this was within collaboration with township staff. We developed criteria following the Ontario Good Roads Association. They have a method, but we wanted to modify it for our region really to suit. And so this is the criteria that we came up with that we're going to use that gets a technical score for each road as it comes forward. And so as an example, we could pick traffic volume. We would then score that based upon the criteria set based upon the volume on that road. It would score a value, and that's going to then ultimately, the higher the value, so the more traffic on a road gets a higher score, which ultimately is leading towards being a county road. But at a lower traffic volume, it would get a lower score, and ultimately then you total those up in your scoring matrix to overall give it a very technical score in the end. And that score is then going to lead us into step number 3, is where you can see here we're going to review that scoring. And so if the score in the end ultimately lands below 4.5 and it's existing county road, we're then saying, hey, it really should be transferred to the township. Vice versa, if it was an existing township road and it scored less than 4.5 and we went through this to review it, it would remain still as a township road. I guess the flip to that would be if it's scored over a 7. So we're saying it's and it was an existing county road, it's going to remain a county road. So we might have considered to be transferred, but it scored high enough that it would stay as a county road. And if it was an existing township road that we were reviewing and scored over 7, then we would transfer it directly to the county as well. Now, in the middle, something that we worked with staff is with a policy, it's always hard to think of everything in all the circumstances. So we want to create what we call like a bit of a gray zone, or an area in the middle where we have, you'll see there between 4.5 and 6 there, where it's basically saying that's considered for transfer, but it really needs to be reviewed further to make sure that it fits either way. And so that area is saying still can be considered. So it's not necessarily going to go either way, but that's going to lead you right directly to step number 4. And so looking at that there, that's where we're going to look at other considerations, other criteria, we call it. And in that range, so if the score's between, like I said, 5 and 6.5, then you're going to look at those factors and say, okay, well, through that, what are other considerations? And so something there might be a road maintenance needs. So it doesn't make sense to transfer that road for either party. You know, the plow routes make sense if we were transferred or not. So something that you can technically maybe factor in, but we want to look at and say, does it still provide that service to the public in the end if we did that? Other things we looked at is maybe future development. So maybe right now that road isn't meeting the technical score to be transferred, but we do know a large development's coming, and that's going to drive traffic, maybe more truck traffic on that road as well. And so getting ahead of things, we want to look at that and say, okay, well, that would also be another factor that may lead us to transferring that. So then step number 5 comes in, and this is where we've gone through, we've provided our scoring, we get to the reporting. And so county staff will prepare a memo or a summary report, we're calling it. And ultimately that would then be sent to the township staff to look at and review and make sure that they're in agreement with how it's been scored. If needed, we had some discussion at our meetings with township staff. They thought we could also have a meeting together to sit down and say, you know, is there questions about it? Was it done right? So a consensus meeting isn't going to be held every time, but you know, as required or needed, we would definitely have that meeting. And then ultimately that report then at a township level could be funneled back to township council if that was the right time to do so. So we've left it in our policy, again, where applicable, that would come back, reporting back to township council. Then from there, so now we're at a stage where considering we are transferring a road. So we've gone on, we're saying, assuming steps, excuse me, is the development of conditions for the transfer. So we're saying it's either being transferred from the county to the township or the township to the county. And as you can see there's a large list of things that you want to consider when transferring a road. So things like the road condition, you know, what state is it in today? Do we need to upgrade that state before you want to transfer it? But then we also want to consider things that, and this would be really working together in collaboration, is do you want the financial consideration? So does it make sense to provide, you know, say the cash in lieu for it, or would it be upgraded to that state? What is the standard it would have to be upgraded to? So the county standard might be different than the township standard. So those are all the things that we try to put together in that infographic, just to show that when we get to the conditions, there's a lot of different conditions that we're going to have to consider. And so, but again, that's going to be in working together and saying, okay, well, what makes sense for this road transfer? And again, not everyone's going to be the same. They're probably each unique in their own way, and they're going to have different conditions that really are going to make sense for both parties in the end. And step number 7, so our final step there is really now we're into the implementation of the transfer. And so here you'll see in blue and green, we have highlighted that both county council and township council, we would need a resolution. So again, we're saying both parties would agree to this. From there, we would have to engage legal. So there'd be some cost for legal, whether it be legal survey, as well as the legal property transfer documents as well would have to be prepared. From that would come back to in front of councils for local bylaws to be implemented. And then ultimately there we're saying from that, then council would direct typically staff to update applicable master plans, study documents, any planning documents like that. So it could be your asset management plan as an example, might have to be updated with any transfer of that. So as you kind of heard through this, I do just want to reiterate a lot of consultation went into this policy. So really working together, we held 2 in-person sessions the county staff hosted. We had all 8 township staff representation at both of them. Really the first one we just highlighted, we really want to focus on that technical criteria we talked about. So making sure that was the right technical scoring we had the right criteria in there. Once we received comments, feedback from that, then we looked at the policy itself. So that's really the protocol or the process. And that was at the second session that we held. And so there we again received feedback from all townships and staff were in attendance, and we did provide a comment period actually as well after that, where we did receive quite a bit of feedback back. And we did actually just want to note as well, Pete Hines, our senior project coordinator, was actually able to run a few sample roads that staff had requested just to kind of make sure that it makes sense. So we did run those based upon the request of the staff at each township. So we ran 3 or 4 candidate roads to see how does the next sense where that might land. Those results obviously weren't finalized. The idea of those was just to test it in a sense to make sure that the policy would work with what we would predict. And so next steps, we're obviously here today in front of council. We have 2 other sessions today in front of council, and then we actually plan to be back in front of county council, probably the end of October into early November. We anticipate it'll probably be a couple sessions in front of county council as well. And ultimately, in the end there, we're looking for endorsement from county council for this is a county policy we're looking to adopt. But really leading for today, we are looking, the township council receives the presentation in front of you and the draft policy, and further that you endorse in principle the policy. But we'd be glad as well to take any comments or questions today while we're here.
Okay, well, thank you, Doug. And yeah, like one of the examples in our township that we've been working on for years is George Street or County Road 48. And eventually the talk was that it would be turned over to the township. And I guess this would be part of the process when that comes to fruition. Is that right then?
Through you, Chair, it's a great question. So we would want to have the policy adopted by county council. So I don't want to prematurely say that would happen. We would have to have this policy adopted. And then ultimately we would just look for a written request. It could be from staff or council saying to put that as a candidate road to review as part of the policy.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? Go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation, Doug. I think you addressed it in the last slide. I was just going to ask if the municipalities were consulted in the process more in terms of the scoring system than anything else, but you kind of addressed that. My question, I guess, would be around being from the township or the bottom of the barrel here, kind of. Everything seems to come our way. So in terms of, do you have any data in terms of, say, past 5 to 10 years, how many assets have been uploaded to the county in comparison to say what the county has downloaded on the townships? Because I'm worried about the balance there, right? Like if it's going to be 50-50 or close to 50-50, then that's one thing. But if everything's being offloaded from the county to the townships, then, you know, we're already in financial situations. Some of us, luckily not our township, but I mean, we can't afford to take on a lot of these, especially with the new asset management coming on too, right? So like, do you have any comment in terms of that, in terms of trying to maintain a balance, or is there a system there to try and maintain that balance so it doesn't all go one way?
Yeah, through you, Chair. Yeah, great question. I don't have exact stats on transfer of assets, but to be honest, there hasn't been that many. And really throughout this, I do want to highlight to council that it is meant to be a collaborative process. So as you saw early on, it can go from the county downloaded, but it could also be uploaded from the township. And I do know something that I didn't touch on and I probably should have is that a lot of the time when we get into these, we're looking at a review of one road. Sometimes there is a second road that's also reviewed at the same time. And so if that was to happen and two roads are like at the same time, when we talk about transfers and some of the financial concessions, we would typically be net. So you would evaluate both roads and say, okay, you know, in the end, one's longer, maybe a little bit longer than the other. So one party might owe a smaller amount. So that is pretty common. And, you know, in my tenure at the county, I've seen a lot of time the transfer is typically even two assets. In this case, it could just be one, but the policy is not intended to be that we're going to, at a county level, county staff or county council would come in and say, here's, you know, all these assets. That's not the intention. The intention is really just to say the right assets in the right party. So, you know, should the county really have essentially a really low volume road that is only servicing, you know, say the local residents and the township's maintaining maybe a more of a county road. So we're trying to say, well, let's put the assets in the right, per se, party's interest or jurisdiction.
That's understood. And just the fact that it's our asset, we have to pay for it going forward. So like from my point of view, that I don't mind taking on the asset as long as I'm going to have money or funding. So it would be the guarantee of that money or future funding, right, to pay for said asset. That's kind of what, it's not so much the taking over the asset, it's what to pay for it going forward.
Yeah, and through your chair, and that is definitely part of the considerations that we knew would be coming. So we talked about financial considerations. It would be evaluating that road. What state is it in today? What would it cost to upgrade it? What would be the long-term maintenance? So those are things that definitely would be considered as part of any transfer.
Thank you very much, Tim.
So the key here about the collaboration and the mutual agreement between the township and the county, how strong is that then? Like if we don't want to take something that the county's, I guess to the deputy mayor's point, trying to get us to take over and we just don't see how we can do it. How strong is our voice there? Like it says it's mutual, it has to be mutual. There won't be a lot of mutual, I don't imagine, when things are coming our way or vice versa, right? So there would be a bit of a lot of discussion around that kind of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, through your chair, great question. And that is in the current policy that's its draft that would go for council is very mutual. So we're saying both parties have to agree to a transfer. So it's not that county would come in and say, this is yours, take it over. It's going to be both parties would have to agree. And you saw that on the one slide where we're saying we need resolution from both parties. So if there was a reason why township council felt that road shouldn't be there, they wouldn't put a resolution forward to take the road. So it is meant to be a very collaborative approach. We'll see how that works in this policy, but that was the intention, was to be say, let's work together to make sure that assets in the right party as opposed to coming in and just downloading a bunch of assets. That was the intention.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Councillor Clement.
So you remember, so just were there a lot of roads in question that brought this whole procedure into effect? Like what brought this on?
Yeah, through your chair, no, great question. So through our 2022 transportation master plan, and really even leading up to that, I wouldn't say there's a lot of roads, but there's definitely a handful between, I'm going to say 5 to 10. And those go not only at a county level, definitely at a county level, there's some roads, but also at a township level. Some concerns were being raised that roads that were being maintained by the township saying this is really a county road and they were looking to upload it. So let's say between 5 and 10 were being considered. And so we thought we better have a policy on really how do we do it? What's the process? And so we want to be very fair and transparent about it. So that's what led to saying before you consider any roads, come up with a policy first.
Just further to that, I mean, I see it's titled the road transfer rationalization. So is it roads only then? Like bridges won't be?
Through your chair, no, great question. This is only for roads.
Okay.
I do know, potentially in the future, if county council thought they wanted to look at bridges, that would be a separate policy. But currently, no, this is meant to be roads only. That's a really good clarification. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one.
It's not asked.
That's the one I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Well, a lot of work went into this, and so there is a motion before us that we receive the presentation and that we endorse in principle this county road transfer rationalization. So does anybody want to move that motion? Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconder. Okay, second by Councillor Clement. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks. You got a few more of these now?
Yeah, we do. Thank you.
All right then, so our next delegation here is municipal property impact. So Sarah Groves. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Right, perfect. So good morning. My name is Sarah Groves and I'm the account manager at the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. And I looked after all of the municipalities in the county of Peterborough, the county of Haliburton, the city of Peterborough, and the city of Port the Lakes, in partnership with my account support coordinator, Victoria, who is also with me today. What I want you to come away from today is just a greater understanding of all of the resources that we have available to you. We've been out, we presented to you on an Impact 101 in the spring of 23, I believe. So that some of this might be familiar and you would have seen that back when we spoke earlier. But there are a lot of resources available that you may not realize that can help you and your property owners. So that's really what we're here for today. So a little bit of an MPAC 101 and kind of the property assessment and taxation system and how it relates and how we work together. So first, there's the Ontario government who develops all of the policy and everything that we kind of work through, as well as what you work through as well. We also have the ARB who falls under the Ontario government, who is a third-party tribunal that we work with, also called the Assessment Review Board. Then we have MPAC, who's also a key player. Obviously, we assess all properties across the province of Ontario, and we're an independent not-for-profit corporation funded by all 444 municipalities. We have municipalities who obviously determine your revenue requirements and set your budgets and collect those property taxes to pay for all of the municipal services provided to your property owners. And then we have the property owners who pay the property taxes in order to support those community services in the municipality. So monitoring the market and assessing newly built and renovated properties is something we do every single day in order to keep our data current. We also update periodically every single property across the province based on the same legislated valuation date, and we call this an assessment update. This is when we determine what every single property across the province could have reasonably sold for in its current state and condition at a particular point in time. And regular revaluation of properties ensures that assessments stay up to date and similar properties of similar value pay similar property taxes. So provincial legislation does determine when MPAC can conduct a province-wide assessment update and then sets the valuation date for that assessment cycle. So what is current value assessment? So Ontario's property tax system is based on everyone paying their portion of what it costs to deliver community services. And to do this, all properties are assigned a value at a common valuation date. Okay, the current value assessment is market value at a point in time, and we call this the legislated valuation date. And it's the price a property might reasonably be expected to sell for if sold by a willing buyer to a willing seller after open market. Regular revaluation of properties ensures that assessments stay up to date and similar properties of similar value in the same municipality pay similar property taxes. So as you can imagine, maintaining Ontario's property database is very important. Property data is continuously updated so that municipal records are accurate when municipal stakeholders make important tax decisions. Maintaining Ontario's property database includes assessing and inspecting all new constructions, additions, and renovations. We respond to property owner inquiries and work with them to help them understand their assessment. We also support municipalities. We have a system they use called Municipal Connect. We have ongoing conversations and engagements. We speak with the finance staff probably weekly basis. We meet formally on a quarterly basis. We're in constant communication with the building department as well to ensure we're getting all of those new permit details and information. We also work together with the digital building permit platform, Cloud Permit, to ensure we're getting the information we need. We process tax applications, land severances and consolidations, as well as statutory duties such as handling requests for reconsiderations or RFRs. And we maintain people data for all of the 5.5 or 5.6 million properties across the province. So when we value properties, there are three distinct approaches that we use. And the most common is the direct comparison approach. And that's essentially analyzing sales of comparable properties that were sold for a similar or identical use as the property to be valued. And this is used on residential properties. So your single family dwelling and your single family dwelling, we compare them to come up with the value. We also have the income approach, and it's essentially used when the ability to earn revenue is tied directly to the property. And then we have the cost approach, which is used generally for industrial properties, for instance. And this is used when a property type is unique and rarely sold, and obviously wouldn't fall under the direct comparison approach umbrella kind of for valuing properties. So those are the three distinct approaches to value. When we look at a residential property, there are over 200 factors we consider when assessing a residential property, but these 5 make up 85% of that value. So your age of the building, the location, lot dimensions, the exterior square footage, and the quality of construction. And then that age of the property may get adjusted depending on if there's been any major renovations to time adjust for those changes. So after we assess a property or change an assessment, we do mail property owners a property assessment notice, or PAN for short form. Sometimes property owners don't agree with the value that we placed on their property, and they have the ability to file a request for reconsideration free of charge, and we'll take a look at all of the information we have. We just want to ensure the information we have is correct and accurate. They can go on aboutmyproperty.ca. On that PAN, or the property assessment notice, is an access key and the login information to get into About My Property. On About My Property is all kinds of details. You can literally see exactly what we have in our system. So the square footage of your property, make sure we've got the frontage correct, the number of bathrooms or bedrooms, make sure we've got the garage information correct. All of that is on there. You can also go in and review neighboring properties. You can select favorites up to 24, or you can view up to 100 properties altogether to make sure that your information makes sense to similar properties across the municipality. If the information is confirmed and it's correct, great. That's perfect. We've done our job. If we haven't, we want to have a look at it. So you can file a request for reconsideration directly through About My Property. You can follow it through a timeline. So once you submit a request for reconsideration, it gets assigned to one of our assessors, and they'll be out to have a look and be in contact with the property owner. So that can all be done online through aboutmyproperty.ca. So let's spend a moment to address the relationship between property taxes and assessment. Assessment distributes taxes. It does not determine the taxes paid. So the most important factor is not how much the assessed value of a property has changed, but rather how the assessed value has changed relative to the average change in that class within the community. So shifting gears just a little bit, I talked at the beginning all about the resources that we have for you. And the next few slides are really going to focus on all of the support tools for you guys, for property owners, for municipal staff. So first off is the First Time Homeowners Hub. All of these resources essentially will help property owners understand their assessment and the system a little bit better, is the hope, obviously, because we know understanding property assessment and taxation can be complex. So we've got social media campaigns. You may have seen some of the next couple slides in our Facebook posts or on any of the other social media platforms. And of course, we've got educational videos on YouTube as well. So we also had an Insights campaign that was launched earlier this year. You may have already seen it, obviously, in some of our social media postings. And the campaign focuses on how the residential property landscape in the province has changed. So it provides 3 different lenses, kind of 2013, 2018, and 2023. And it'll show how those values of those homes, or the sale prices of those homes, has changed over that 10-year period. So you can go on to our impact.ca website, hover over any municipality across the province, and see how their information has changed. It's color coded as well, so you can see those heat maps and the differences there as well. And really, it's giving new property owners an opportunity, or those hoping to get into the property owner landscape, an opportunity to kind of see where they may be best suited across the province. Because really, this campaign was to kind of look at those properties worth $500,000 or less. And that's where this data is really showcasing. And Peterborough is one of those areas where you can still get a home for under $500,000. Okay. So to help property owners navigate the property assessment system, we did launch the First Time Homeowners Hub in December of last year. And this is exactly what it says, is it's for first-time homeowners who may have never seen a notice from MPAC, have maybe never had any engagements with any of our staff or inspectors, and really have maybe no idea what the relationship is. So it provides lots of information. There's links exactly why you got a property assessment notice, maybe what to expect if somebody's coming out for an inspection at your property. All of this information is available on the hub on our mpac.ca website. And we also have tools like that top right-hand side that municipal staff can use in newsletters on your social media websites as well. There's key messaging, there's social media blasts, pictures, all that can be used to support your conversations, and you're welcome to use it on yours as well. Last year, you may remember that we had the Myths and Facts campaign. So those are those, I don't know, pinky red, salmon color, I guess, and the turquoise boxes there. And those really hit home with a lot of property owners across the province. So we're sticking with them. They've been popular. They explain it in, I don't know, Cole's Notes version, I guess you could say, of the relationship between property taxes and assessment. So we continue with that. So we have lots of social media campaigns. The video in the bottom right-hand side is also in our social media campaigns earlier this year as well, that explains the importance of your property assessment. So I will get Leah possibly to pop up this video. This video has been very popular. It explains again in Cole's Notes, layman terms, how your property tax is calculated and the relationship with your property assessment.
Property taxes are based on your home's value. What you might not know is that an increase in your home's value doesn't necessarily mean your taxes will go up. To explain, let's take a look at how your property taxes are calculated. Imagine there's a town that only has 3 homes, and they're each worth a different amount. The total cost to provide all of the town's services is $1,200. This is collected through property taxes. Each homeowner pays property taxes based on their home's assessed value. So we take the total cost of services and divide it by the total property value. This tax rate is applied to all the houses to get enough money to pay for the town's services. Each homeowner pays according to the assessed value of their home, and every 4 years, the houses are reassessed. Let's say all 3 properties have gone up equally in value. The total cost of services hasn't changed, but the total property value has increased. When this happens, there will be a decrease in the tax rate. Now, when we apply that new rate on all the homes, everyone still pays the same. Now, let's say another 4 years has gone by, and these homes are reassessed. During this time, the house on the right gains more market value than the other 2. The total value of all the homes have increased, which means the town has to calculate a new tax rate. With this new tax rate, the first 2 homes will actually pay less than the home on the right that was reassessed at a higher value. Since the cost of services hasn't changed, the town doesn't need to collect more property taxes on the whole. However, since property taxes are based on a home's value, taxes for each individual home could potentially go up or down based on the rest of the homes. So, what happens when the cost to provide services goes up? Well, it means more property taxes need to be collected from every home and a new tax rate is calculated. To get the new rate, we take that amount that the town now needs and divide it by all of the property values. The new rate is applied to all the homes, and now everyone has to pay the new tax amount to continue to fund the town's services. So, let's review. 1. Property taxes are based on the assessed value of a home. If all assessments go up equally, everyone pays the same. 2. If all assessments do not go up equally, there's a redistribution of the tax. 3. If the town's cost to provide services increases, the municipality may choose to increase the tax rate. When this happens, everyone pays their share of that increase. And that explains the relationship between property value and property taxes.
How do celebrities like Justin Bieber and The Rock generate hundreds of millions of dollars? It's actually not what you think.
Never know what's gonna pop up on YouTube. Okay, perfect. So next up, so we talked about my property a little bit. It's one of our, we have Municipal Connect for municipal staff. We have About My Property for property owners. And it's just that, aboutmyproperty.ca. Every property owner across the province has access to their property information there. If for some reason you don't have your access information, just reach out to our customer contact center at our 1-800 number, and they'll provide you with all of the login information that you need. As mentioned, there's lots of different things you can do in there. You can look at all your property information and confirm it. You can look at neighboring properties to compare yours. You can look at similar properties across the municipality to make sure the information seems correct. New on About My Property, that'll probably be formally launched in the next month or so. You can also update your mailing address. So a lot of people don't realize that when you update your mailing address on your health card or your driver's license, you then call into the municipality, you update it because you want to get your property tax bill, but you also need to update your mailing address with us so that you ensure you get all of those assessment notices that then come in tandem kind of with your property tax bill. So that's also on aboutmyproperty.ca. Okay. In Q1 of 2023, we also launched an online portal for property owners to update their school support. So it's all electronic. We also have the paper application to direct school support form as well for those that prefer the paper copy. But it's been very popular. So this is also an opportunity. You can share the links and everything on here as well, so that property owners can do this very easily and electronically. And they'll get confirmation right away that they've made their changes to their school support. And then obviously we liaise with municipalities on a regular basis. So we have orientation sessions, kind of like the one we did with you after the 2022 election. We attend conferences. We were at AMO in August. Upcoming is the OMTRA and MFOA conference, so we'll be at those with representation. We also have one-on-one meetings with the finance staff on a quarterly basis. As mentioned, we meet regularly and speak regularly with the building staff and planning staff as well. We also provide webinars and training videos. So we have training videos on our Municipal Connect portal for the staff, and we have webinars that you may, Mayor Martin may have noticed. There was an email sent out last week that there's webinars for staff and council as well to attend. And all of those are available on our website should anybody wish to take a look at them and gain some information and knowledge on that. And obviously, I've mentioned we have Municipal Connect, which is for municipal staff, and we do send out a newsletter, keeping everybody up to speed on what's going on across the province with our municipal and stakeholder relations department. So each year we issue a municipal partnerships report, a performance report, and an annual report. These are also linked on our website. You may have received an email with them as well at the beginning of the year. So I recommend taking a look at those as well, so that you're up to speed on what's going on in our kind of neck of the woods. So again, I wanted you to kind of come away with just a little bit of a greater understanding of MPAC, all of the resources we have for you and property owners, and to reach out if you have any questions. So my contact information is there. My regional manager, Lynn Cunningham, and then my account support coordinator, Victoria. She's also there as well if anybody needs to reach out to us. Okay. So,
okay, thank you. Lots of information there. You referred to every 4 years the update, and the last one, was it 16 that the last annual update of all the properties was done? Is that how long ago it was still, or?
Yes, that is correct. January 1st, 2016 is the current valuation date.
Is there any word of when the next one will be? Like it's 8 years now. So we're all waiting to see when the whole township will be updated, and I'm just wondering when that's going to happen.
Yeah, so right now we don't have a date. I have no indication of when there will be an announcement. There is an ongoing review of the property tax and assessment system that's being done by the Ministry of Finance. So I would anticipate that maybe once that review is done, that we may receive notice, but at this point, I don't have a date or a potential timeline.
Okay, because when you say about looking at property prices of 2016, lots has changed, so anyways, okay. All right, any questions from council? All right, well, thank you very much, and I'll look for a motion to receive the delegation. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler, all in favor, and that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, our next delegation here is William Bargent with regards to storm sewers on Highway 7. William here. Okay, I don't see him. All right then. And
What address it?
well, I guess it can be, staff can look at this. I haven't had any complaints about the storm sewers, so but anyways, we can, how do you want to deal with this, Bob? Do you want to?
Just like to Mr. Vargy, see if we should come to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right then. Okay, and our next delegation is Pat Patterson with regards to the community center expansion project. And I don't see him here either. All right then. Moving right along. Staff reports for information here. We do have a report here from Josh Story, our supervisor of Parks and Recreation. It is for information. We'll get a motion to receive that. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clements. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, so now we're going to move into staff report with follow-up action.
Mr. Mayor, members of council. The reporting is for the request for tender BLD 2024-02 for one new 2024 four-wheel drive pickup truck. So the tender was put out on bids and tenders, the township website and social media pages on July 25th, 2024. Tenders were received up until August 26th, 2024 at 11 a.m. In attendance for the opening were Councillor Clement, CAO Bob Angione, Administrative Assistant Skylar Sodi, and myself. There was a total of 7 bids received. And the one that we're recommending is from Scott Drummond Motors Limited. Budget was $67,800. The bid with applicable taxes comes in at $51,639.91. So it's recommendation that council approve for staff to award tender BLD 2024-02 for one new 2024 four-wheel drive mid-size pickup truck to Scott Drummond Motors Limited in the amount of $57,340.85, and that's including all HST.
All right then, so. Council?
The question around the pricing that came in there. I see we received 2 from Forbes. One was the lowest, but is there something there we're missing in terms of?
So 3, Mr. Mayor, the truck that we got is a fairly plain work truck. This one from Forbes was a full size work truck. So that's the reason.
Full size.
Whereas the one we're a mid-size, it's a Colorado, it's smaller for getting around back roads.
Okay, just for clarification, like number 3 was only 51,000 with HST included. So I mean, is there something there that was?
So number 3 was a full size.
Okay.
Fuel and everything too, we're looking at.
Good.
Okay. All right, then any other questions? All right, then look for, let's council thoughts here, the recommendation here. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second. Second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, thank you. Okay, Peter, connection to municipal water.
Yes, good morning, Mayor Martin, and members of the council. First report we have is, this is seek council's approval to connect to the Havelock water and sewer system. And the recommendation from staff is that council approve 2 connections to the Havelock water and sewer system at 21 King Street East. All costs associated with the connections will be at the property owner's expense, and the work will be inspected to ensure it meets all current regulations.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, motion to.
Right, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second. Councilor Clement. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. All right. Next,
Yep, through you, Mayor Martin. So the next report, the purpose of this report is to determine the date to conduct the 2024-2025 road tour. Staff have a recommendation for the 2024-25 road tour to be conducted on Thursday, September 19th, 24, commencing at 9 a.m. at the township office. Through you, Mayor, as Thursday, September 19th.
yeah, so as I told you, I got meetings on both days suggested there. So I was just wondering if we could keep it to a Tuesday and move it out to the 24th of. That's the only other day I was available, but so on the 24th of September, that'd be staying with our Tuesday for Havelock. Does that work for everyone? Okay. All right, then if we can move it to the 24th, that would work for me better. Or, yeah, 24th.
Is that a council meeting?
What's that? No, it's the week after council.
So 9 a.m. 24.
Yeah, same time as mine, but. Okay. All right, looks like quite an agenda, so.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, we did put, there's quite a list of roads there to travel, so.
Yeah.
It'll be a full day. Hopefully we can get through all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right then, so so the road tour would be on September 24th. That's okay, everyone. I'll look for a motion to do that. Moved by Councilor Clement, second by Councilor Flagler. Sure. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you. Next item is waste collection.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So the purpose of this report is to provide 3 options with respect to a possible extension of the current waste collections contract with Waste Connections of Canada. Recommendation. The council approves one of the 3 options listed below. Option number 1, extend the current waste collection contract with Waste Connections of Canada for a longer term. Option number 2, continue to a month-to-month extension provided until a decision is made regarding the county-wide organics program. And option number 3, continue the month-to-month extension provided until a new waste collection request for tender is published and awarded.
Yeah, this is with waste. It's been a hard year as far as all the changes that are happening. We do our tender for the township wide pickup and that's gone now. So I'm not sure what to say here, but probably a year before we know what the county's doing. So I would suggest that we extend it. Like I haven't looked at the other townships. I know we're all trying to align our date with the county, but it's a moving date all the time. So I don't know whether, is there an exit clause if we go for the year right now and at least they have clarification that, or do we have to tender if we're going for a year?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I should have brought the letter with me, but it was a month to month, so I believe we can go up to a year on a month to month at the prices that
That's good.
at least we're secured for the year, and then if we decide on another option, we can
Okay.
pursue that at the time. So,
Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah,
Brad?
through you, Mr. Mayor. Can we confirm in terms of the length of time we can continue on the month to month? Because I think we're best probably served going using that approach until we figure out what the county's doing with this organics and everything else.
Yeah, so through Mayor Martins to Deputy Mayor Webb, that's exactly why I think they've proposed that to us, because they're aware of it, and
Yep.
if it does go through countywide, then they'll be bidding also on that tender as well, so.
But just
It kind of,
for us moving forward though, right? Like it'd be nice to know if it's a 6 month, 12 month, and that way.
Yep.
If we do end up running out of time, like we're gonna have to go to either option 1 or 3, right? So if we could just confirm the length of that month long, how long we can take the month long extension for.
yeah, so staff can communicate with Waste Connections and then provide up to 1 year on a month basis.
Okay, thank you.
Different.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion would be that we do a month to month for the year and hopefully we have something by then. I'm sure everything's gonna come together soon, but there's just a lot of moving pieces, so. By Deputy Mayor Webb, second. That we go for a year, and then we'll bring it back.
I'll second that, but I have a question through you, Mayor Martin. I'm not understanding, are we with the county now to pick up our garbage? Like, I'm not understanding why we have to wait for the county.
There's still,
I'm,
we're not there yet, but there, and whether we end up there or not.
but what are we waiting for?
All the pricing to come in, so we know what we're looking at. At the county right now, they don't have the price, so the county council hasn't been able to vote on it until we see some numbers. There's no way.
Okay, so is our numbers or our price, is that just the township? Or no, is that just the village with our?
The one we're on right now is the same as what we've got right now, yeah, just with the village.
Right, so is that with the county as well, or are we?
We're not with the county right now, it's
No.
just, yeah, they're just putting their numbers together and then we'll decide on that separately whether we.
Okay, so, but does that include our township?
No, well, the waste, the bins and all that at the transfer stations are included in this price, so.
Right,
Yeah, but it's just it's as it is right now for a year, and then hopefully the county has all the numbers in, and whether we go with the county, that'll be a separate day.
that's the part that's confusing me,
Yeah.
because I'm not understanding why we have to go to the county.
Well,
Yeah.
through you, Mr. Mayor.
Clarify.
We don't. Yeah, to the mayor's point, we're waiting for the pricing to come in from the proposal put forth by the county. So that will be one price, right? If we like that price, we can go with it. If we don't like it, chances are we're probably gonna end up back on number 3 where we go out for our own RFP back to waste disposal to get a new price for a new contract. All we're basically in is a holding situation here. So we can get a response from the county in terms of a real number, and then we're gonna have to make a decision whether we want to go that way or we want to go back to what we're doing. In which case we'd have to renew this contract and sign a new contract with Waste.
Yeah, one way or another, and then hopefully in the next year, we're gonna be renewing the contract either as our own contract or with the county, whatever we would decide then. Right now, we're on our own. We're still the same as it was, so.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'd say there's been so much happening this year, it's hard to keep up on it, but anyway. Okay, so the motion was moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by
By myself, yeah.
Councilor Seidler. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, the next item, Lionel. Lots of work went into this one. Juggling. Regarding the funding options for ball diamond. Oh, all right then, so you've come up with some scenarios here and if you wanted to, is there anything you want to add to it here? I know council's got it, but the recommendation was the council approves staff applying to the Community Sports and Recreation Infrastructure Fund to support the construction of all phases of the proposed recreation park, including a ball diamond phase 1, second ball diamond. And then phase 2 was 2 tennis courts and 4 pickleball courts and the dog park. And the consideration of the approval of the associated capital project be deferred until it's known if we're successful with this application. So that's exactly what it says here. It would be really nice if this grant would come through and we could do everything. But I think there is some tweaking to do on the costing there because Deputy Mayor Webb did speak to somebody last night, so there is some numbers that I'm sure will change there as far as the cost of this. But this would get us going. The big thing here, and I'm glad you said it in there, is once you apply for the grant, we're in a holding pattern until the province approves or denies. So there is a waiting game after that. But that being said, if we could get the grant, basically for what we would have to pay for one diamond, we could almost get it all done. So it would be fantastic if that could happen. But we just need to understand that, like you said, it's kind of holding pattern.
He was right. To the landlord, CEO, do we have an idea in terms of what the regular time frame is on turnaround in these grants? Like, so if we submit the grant within the next month, do we have any assurance that we'd receive it back? No? It's just,
When's the next election?
Yeah.
well, I'm just, but
No.
the grant we're applying for is already open, is
Yeah.
it not?
Yeah,
So we don't have to wait for an open date. So I'm assuming that seeing that they're intaking applications now, that people will be processing said applications now as well.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we have asked the ministry that question. Unfortunately, there's no definitive answer on that. But they will process them as they come in. So we'll get it in, we'll get the application in there as soon as we can. And hopefully turnaround time is by the end of the year, but I don't know that for sure. They haven't given us a date on that.
it'd be nice if it was. And I think, if we do this, I think we should send a letter to Dave Smith to help him, get at him to help us push this through. So, and how important it is to us. So anyways, the recommendation is before you. If any questions around that? Okay, somebody want to?
Yeah, I'll make the motions. So if we're gonna ask for it, let's ask for the whole ball of wax,
That's right.
right? So, and if we don't get it, then we can dial it back, moving forward, but
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Whip, second by Councillor Flagler. Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Thank you for that.
Okay, the next item here is the Old Town Hall study there, an option there for to get the study going. And that a building assessment of Old Town Hall be undertaken with funds specified in this report. So to get this study going, and we were told that we need an updated one, so I think that's the first step on moving forward, so you're gonna move that on, Councillor Clement's moving the recommendation, Councillor Flagler is seconding. Any questions? Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin, actually, I think I'm answering my question. The building assessment, we already had one of them,
With that, I think.
right?
Yeah.
But did it say that the building was not able to be repaired?
No, it was just old costing that was in there, I think was the big
Okay.
thing, so we need an up-to-date, and codes have changed too, so.
Okay. All right,
Okay, so, all right, so I have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Lionel. So our next is the mandatory connection to sewer systems. Bob?
Yes, Mayor Martin, at the last council meeting on August the 15th, the bylaw was presented to make connection to the sanitary and storm sewer and water systems mandatory. Council directed that the bylaw be revised and that it be made mandatory for new buildings only. So this bylaw was submitted and is presented for council for.
Okay, so and that's perfect. That's reasonable on new builds. They would be expected to connect, so.
So I'll move this one to the, moved the wrong one the first time.
All right, it's moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Clement, all in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you very much for that, Bob.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, so next is our budget priorities.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, this report requests some feedback from council, from each member of council regarding priorities for our upcoming budget discussions. And as listed in the report, we'll simply go around the table and ask each member of council to list their priorities for our budget discussions, and staff will put some numbers to those. So we typically start with you, Mayor Martin.
Great. Yeah, actually this year, like, I don't have any new ones. I just think we have so much stuff on the books right now that we need to look at how we can keep things moving. Like, we have a wastewater treatment plant over there we're trying to deal with, the sports field that we're looking at, the arena, George Street. We have so much on our plate right now that I don't know how we can afford anything else anyway. So I think my priority is that we work on this budget to try and find the monies to make all these things keep moving forward. That sewage treatment plant is going to be a fortune. We have a lot of roads that, as much as we had a reasonable budget last year, we have a lot of shortfalls on roads right now that we're going to be paying for this year. So I don't see how I could say anything new. I just hope that we can come up with a reasonable budget and make all of these things either happen or keep moving forward, at least, because we've sat on them for a long time. Some of these have been around since 2019. They come from our recreation master plan, and we need to keep it going. So that's just my thing. I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor Webb?
Yeah, I completely agree with the mayor. We've got plenty of sticks in the fire, big sticks, these are major projects. And so from my point of view, I want to make sure that they're delivered well and on time for the members of our community. There's a few things around that I think though that can help us move forward. I know that we talked about sectioning some lots off of this where we're building these baseball fields. So I mean, if we can get our planning department or whoever to sever those lots, survey them and whatnot, I think there's a possible revenue that we can take back to pay for some of these projects there. And in the grand scheme of things too, you referenced the wastewater treatment plant, getting that done so we can get moving with some possible housing expansion in our community. Obviously we need the wastewater plant done first before we can get there. But I mean, if we can get that started, I think that'll help us with negotiations with developers and whatnot, and bring you know, some new houses here to the township. One thing from a personal I guess standpoint, because we're on ECDev, we're doing George Street. Obviously the county's redoing it. There's been a lot of talk from business owners, people that live along there, that once we get a fix up, if we could do some kind of streetscaping there. So whether it be some kind of lighting or whatnot, but I know there's been discussions at the Economic Development Committee about things like that. So as I said, I realize it's going to be tight, but it'd be nice to see if there was a little bit of money put aside there so we could kind of, I don't know, town beautification kind of, or whatever, for George Street to spiff it up a little bit once the construction is done. So that's about it. I'm with you in terms of we need to finish what we got started here. So.
Okay, Kathy?
You two are hard to beat. I agree with everything. We need to continue on with what we've got. We need to finish some jobs that we've started. And I agree, there's nothing new that we can really go for. We need to finish what we've started.
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, George Street, streetscaping, beautifying downtown George would be great. But I think the baseball needs to still continue, as they are having issues just with the one field, so we do have to keep that going. And I agree with everything that Webb has said. And we do have some roads. I think County Road 48 needs a little TLC. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right. So. Up there.
Yep, that's good. Thank
All
you.
right, well, that's good. Thank you very much. And
Just further to Councilor Flagler's point, I think there's work supposed to be done on 48 this summer, so I don't know if it's going to be done this fall, but
there's some sections.
but there's a section for this year and a section for next year. I'll look into that and I'll clarify, but there is, I believe, some work, maybe, as I said, it's going to be done here after Labor Day, so
Okay.
maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, so you need a motion to receive the priorities?
Yes, please.
Okay. Motion to move by Deputy Mayor Webb, second, Councillor Clement. All in favor? That's carried. All right then, we have one correspondence item here from Ambrose Moran with regard to noise bylaw. This is an issue up in North Kawartha that he's been having. I just wondered for today if we were to refer this over to bylaw to find out what kind of complaints we've had on our end. And we can be updated so we can make a proper decision on this, because 5 o'clock is what most people have. It's during the building season. In Canada, we don't have a long season, so they try to make the most of it. That being said, I think even over here at the long-term care, we did get asked about some forgiveness, and that's what we could get into. But maybe we can look at the whole bylaw here and get a staff report on if this is really something that needs to be looked at this time. So that's just my suggestion, but the motion would be to refer this over to bylaw to bring back a report on the noise bylaw.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councillor Flagler, second by Councillor Clement. Any questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Committee liaison reports. We didn't have a county council meeting last month, so there's nothing there and there's nothing within the report. So that being said, we can move on to, I don't have any written notice of motion for me. So is there any oral notice of motion for today? Seeing none, we'll move into other business. And the first item here before we catch up is with regards to Calvert Memorial Hospital. I was talking with the CEO. I was trying to catch up and not good at multitasking here. So anyways, I was talking to the CEO from Calvert Hospital, and he was looking for any kind of support that we could give to the province as far as Calvert Hospital and their new build. He wanted me to phone Doug Ford. I just said that I would bring it to council and see if we could get a letter from all of council supporting Calvert Memorial Hospital. As much as the Peterborough Hospital is recognized by the county, Calvert Hospital is basically our hospital. And they're really trying to get this build moving forward, and they feel like it's stalled. So I just was looking for support that we could ask staff to write a letter, and I would work with Bob to get what we need in there. To send a letter to the province and our MPP that this is really important to us, and we support the project 100%. So if that's okay with council, I'll make a motion to support it.
Yeah.
Okay, moved by Councillor Flagler, second by Councillor Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. All right then, and we didn't get caught up yet. So the next item here, Kathy.
So through you, Mayor Martin. So this goes back 8 years. It goes back to the previous council and the existing council. We did agree to purchase the Fish Hatchery Road from the province of Ontario. We've tried to get some funding. It didn't happen as of yet. So what I'd like to do is make a motion that we start the proceedings. We did put away 19,500 to cover the cost. And I'd like to say that we start this because it is going to be a 6 months to a year process. I'd like the motion today to start the work.
Okay, so like last month, I think it was, you and I were talking about this to see how we could get it moving. And I think the time is now. So if we could get that going, that would be good to, so do you want a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, just with a comment in terms of further your point. We're moving ahead on it. We're still looking for extra funding. We're not giving up that, but the work will go ahead. And the three gentlemen that are here, especially Mr. Carroll, I'd just like to say thank you for all your work on this. I know as Kathy referenced, it's been, she said 8, but I think it's been longer than 8 for you. And really appreciate working with all three of you. And thanks for all your input. It's kind of helped us clarify in terms of, you know, what you guys want out there. So hopefully with what we can accomplish here, it'll satisfy your needs out there. And We won't see you again for a while. So,
You're right.
yeah, I didn't mean it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, so, so there's been a lot of things changing around this, over the years, like, you know, and even the class 6 from class 5 has really, helped us get that moving and, get it into the system. So, so anyway, so I do have a mover and a seconder. Any questions around this? And yeah, it seems like longer than 8 years, Paul, since we were first looking at this. So anyways, any questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. So. Right then, do that. With that, we do have, or no, there's another. Just a reminder that on September 10th, 1 to 4:30, is that?
Yes.
That's all day. Bonus. Okay, what's that?
Yeah, so
No, the strategic plan
It's a special council meeting.
on
When's the-
September 10th. Oh, that's on the 13th.
13th, okay, sorry.
So, okay, so that's just a reminder. So motion to receive that, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement, all in favor. Carried. And next item here is the bylaw, for new builds to,
Sorry, one more item.
oh,
We have the draw.
oh, sorry. Want to do that?
Sure.
You got it.
Right, so
Closer.
on Sunday at 11:59, our contest, the 8th contest of the summer has ended. And again, Foodland was the #1 business, having receipts in. Number 2, Home Hardware and Gear Store. So a nice combination there. There were 8 businesses that were reflected. Both seasonal as well as permanent residents are benefiting from the contest. They are supporting and participating, which is fantastic. Just a reminder to the folks here, but also those that view this video, you simply have to take a photo of your receipt and email it to shoplocal@hbntwp.ca. Or if you have a bundle of receipts, you can staple them together, put your name, telephone number, if you have an email, place your email, and that can go into the gray drop box in front of the office. On that note, I'm going to ask the mayor if he would. Oh, Bev, Councillor Flagler can do this. All right.
Person.
Let's see.
There.
Got your own, Bev.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, it's Lori DeShane. Timbermart. Lori has been participating in this contest from the very beginning, so this is terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next item we have on, you need a motion. That's just it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so the bylaw here with the new builds, hooking up to the sewers. Bylaw 2024-064, so I'm gonna move that. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement, all in favor. That's carried. And we do have a closed session that will be section 239 3B, personal matters and identifiable individuals. So motion for recess right now. I'll do that. Moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councillor Flagler, all in favor. Okay. We need a motion to go into closed session held under section 239 CB of the for personal matters and identifiable individual or local board employees. Motion to go into closed, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, so we're back in open session, so motion to, we don't have any motions coming out of closed session, so the next motion here would be confirming bylaw. Sorry, I'm lost here.
That's mine.
Is that yours? Okay, moved by Kathy, second by Bev, for the confirming bylaw, and motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor Webb and Councillor Flagler.
Sure.
All in favor? That's carried.